I think it was the year 2000. I was at the Beacon Journal. Regina Brett was the general columnist for the Beacon Journal, and the Plain Dealer came down and hired her. And so I'm out to, my wife and I went to breakfast with the editor, a lady named Jan Leach, and she wanted to know if I wanted to become a general columnist, which I had rarely seen that work well for a sports columnist in the middle of his career to go over and do general columns. Besides, I like sports in that if I don't know what's going on, there's somebody got traded, I got a winner, I got a loser, I got something going on all the time. But then we were talking about that, and I started telling some jail ministry stories and that, and she said, well, what do you think of our religion coverage? And I said, well, a guy named Jim Carney wrote at the Beacon, and I said, he's really good. He would do like the new rabbi in town, or the new ministry or whatever, but I said, the columns you run are awful. They're pulled off the wire. What do you mean? She goes, I said, they're all just denominational spitball fights or gay bishops, abortion, kind of all the hot topics. She goes, well, what would you write about? And I said, when you feel like your prayers are bouncing off the ceiling, or kind of coping with getting through life, not wanting to, or realizing you're not going to get all the eternal answers here. And she said, well, that's really interesting. And I heard nothing for 6 months, so I thought, well, that certainly was interesting. And then she came up to me after 6 months and said, can you write a couple samples? And I did. I remember one I wrote about when I feel like your prayers are not answered, and I forgot what the other one was. It might be, I think it was probably, might have been something like faith at work. People are longing to read about, when I go into a family dinner and I know I'm going to see this person and she's going to pull out a picture and start bragging on her kids, and my kid flunked out of school and we're trying to keep him out of jail and I want to kill her. How do I handle that? And I would argue you need supernatural help on that one. I mean, I have found, even before I go to write like a really critical story, and maybe it's 30, 45 seconds, no more than a minute. All right, Lord, help me to be fair. Guide me on that. Before, I was very tired before this talk. It's a long couple of days having to do with, I mentioned during my talk that there was like my 92-year-old adopted mom. In effect, she's been in hospice care. She's at home, but she's just had a rough couple of days. And my wife and I have been over there and that, and I have to admit I was kind of mentally there. So in the parking lot, I'm like, all right, Lord, a lot of these folks are coming, and I need to represent you well, and I need to be sharp and paying attention to what people are saying. You've got to help me. I am tired. And I do find, I'm not saying it's like an ATM card and you get what you want or whatever, but I have found, the book of James says you have not because you ask not. The book of James also talks about, pray for wisdom, because oftentimes in jail it says, pray for wisdom. Pray for about your relationships, Let God speak to you in relationships. Sometimes we don't want to pray that prayer because we want to hear the answer. We can look at somebody else and go, what are you doing with that guy? He's a loon, But it's like, well, it's my buddy, Yeah, you got arrested with him 3 times, he's not your friend. But those are things there that I think really where the Lord will speak to us. And again, you have to do with faith as opposed to, how many Our Fathers you said or whatever. And that's not to knock that, but I'm saying that behind it has to be the power of faith. I once even got a line thing, what are you writing about God on the religion page for? Which actually is not as ridiculous a question as it seems on the surface, because so many people, again, equated religion with all the politics, as opposed to relationship with God, how your everyday faith or faith in you, which is more where I went with it. That really has been the thing there, and I think you won't find in a major daily anybody doing a column like that.